All right, so today we're going to build a micro SaaS using two tools, Antigravity and Insforge. Just in case you don't know the difference between a micro SaaS and a micro app. A micro app is a small focused application that solves one specific problem, while a micro SaaS is the same concept but with a subscription model, recurring revenue, and typically user accounts so people can sign up, interact with your app, and have some sort of stored data. So with a micro app, you might sell it once, but with a micro SaaS, you've got that recurring revenue month after month. Now, Insforge is fairly new to the market. It's an alternative to Supabase, but it's intentionally geared towards developers using AI, so vibe coders, people just starting out. So if you're building a side hustle, building your first serious app, or like we are today, building a micro SaaS, you're gonna wanna check this out as a backend, because I've read the comments, and if setting up a database, backend, Auth has been a point of conflict for you in the past, Insforge just makes that super easy. And I am talking from experience because just yesterday I started playing around with it and I launched this micro SaaS. I mean, you could call it a SaaS, but yeah, micro SaaS. I launched it yesterday, fully working. It was a local app that I was running on localhost just to use for my own stuff. And Insforge took my local storage and then just converted it, created all the tables, and then added the ability for users to sign up using Google. So I didn't have to do the Google OAuth or any of that setup. It was already pre-built into Insforge. This is the back end. This is what it looks like. I'm not going to go into users or tables now because I do have some real users on the platform, but I'll go ahead and add a new project for what we're going to be building. So of course, I've done my research, and the micro SaaS that I'm going to be trying to build today is a net worth tracker. And the reason being is that if we come over here to the SERPs, this keyword net worth tracker has a monthly search volume of 1,600 per month, which makes it the perfect candidate for a micro SaaS. And by the way, I come up with these ideas all the time. I can't build them all, but I'll be sharing these concepts, marketing angles, keywords, and all the rest in my community, launchrocket.io, the building and shipping platform for builders and shippers. So make sure you go and check that out. But let's get into it. Keyword chosen, topic chosen. Micro SaaS is a lot different to a micro app. You're going to want to do a lot more research than just simply going to the SERPs. You're going to want to benchmark, check how much people are charging, but just judging by the SERPs, I like to look at the competition. We've got Reddit at the top here, which is an awesome sign. And then the competition is considerably low in domain authorities. Okay, so let's set this project up. We're going to choose the closest region to us, and that's for me, Europe. And let's give it a name. It's called Net Worth Tracker, nice and simple. Create project. And again, you're going to see how simple this is. With Insforge, it's just connecting the MCP server and it's going to handle all of your database. You're not going to need to do anything else other than adding Antigravity, adding the MCP, getting it set up. So I have my master prompt and I've got my net worth tracker project folder open. What I'm going to do first is put my master prompt in like a PRD. This is a massive prompt, and if you have a prompt like this where you've planned everything out, you've planned out your color scheme, you've planned out the tools you're going to be using, you've told it the backend, you've told it the framework you're using, and all of your specifications, which I highly recommend. You want to save that in a PRD. I typically recommend having a PRD, knowledge base, roadmap, things that the AI can always refer back to so it stays on track. I'm making the most because I'm using Gemini Pro. We have a huge context window, so rather than just giving it a small prompt and tagging the PRD, I'm giving it the entire PRD prompt, and then again, just letting it double up as my PRD, as my knowledge base, and then I'll add and improve my documentation as I go. What I do want to do is just set this apart. I'm going to turn this into a documentation folder, and I'm going to move my PRD into that. So now it's safe in its position, and when it starts to build this out, all of the rest of the files are going to fill out here. So before I give the AI my prompt, I'm going to copy this terminal command and install Insforge. I'm not going to give it to Gemini, I'm just going to put it in here, and that's it. That's installed. So this is exactly what I mean. It's given me the prompt, it's got my API key in, this is sensitive, but I've given that straight to the terminal, not the AI. Very important, it has your API key in. You want to avoid giving your API keys to AI. Very important next step, restart your coding agent to load Insforge. If you don't and you go straight to the MCP, you're more than likely going to have some issues. So do that now. All right, so I've got it restarted. I'm gonna hit next, and it's given me a prompt. It's telling me to tell the AI that I'm using Insforge as my backend. Now this prompt you do give to AI. This is how you verify that your setup is indeed set up. So let me change this to Flash, and I'm going to give it this prompt, and it's going to tell me it's set up. But really and truly, I can come over here to, it says verified connection with the agent on Insforge, so we know it's set up and it's getting the documentation. We've got this agents file here, and all of the instructions have been updated to the agent, so it's doing all of this for us. And if we come over to the three dots here, we go to MCP servers, we go to manage MCP servers, Insforge is here, and these are the things it can do. So fetch docs, get anon key, get table schema, get backend metadata, all of this stuff it's going to be handling for you. So it's going to be creating buckets if you have storage buckets, if you're storing images. It has the ability to delete buckets, to list buckets when it's double checking the code to make sure things are going in the right place. All kinds of wonderful things that we don't have to manually do. All right, now it's given me a list of critical setup steps. I want to make sure that these are all done. And what I'm also going to do, just to be safe, is tell the AI to store this documentation. So it's doing those now. I can see here, it says backend metadata, and that's just shown up here as an MCP call. And this is all before I've given it the first prompt. So it's just setting up the environment and preparing it for my prompt. All right, so that's all set up. It's done the scaffolding, the SDK installation, the client initialization, and we are ready to give it our prompt. So I'm going to come back over to my master prompt over here. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to just give it the whole thing. And then we're going to have our Google OAuth set up automatically for us. So it's already created the tables. It's going to keep running its way through until we have a working app. And that's what I love about Antigravity. Another thing I think is quite cool is if you want to build LLM features into your app, so if you want to do some image generation within the app or text or anything like that, Insforge already has that embedded. So you can choose from one of the models and then just turn that on. We've got the pricing per token here, but it's all built in for you. So it's just, again, if you're a vibe coder, minimizing all of the stuff that you need to do in the database. Once you've got it connected to the MCP, everything is pretty much handled for you. So yeah, it's done quite a lot. Let's see where we are now. So let's give it a scroll up. I've completed the core structural setup and the first few implementation phases of the network tracker. So we've got the scaffolding, we've got the backend 100%. That's amazing. Core application is at 80% and the pages are at 70. And before I run this app, I'm just going to get it to get these to 100. So let's just copy this and tell it to get it to 100 and we'll be happy. Let's get this thing to 100. I'm just going to crack on with that. And then in the terminal, I'm going to get this thing up and running. Oh, I've had it in Flash, not Pro. I wonder how it's done. Have it in Pro. Have it in Pro. So hopefully it's done fine. Maybe if I had it in Pro, everything would have been 100% rather than 80 and 70 on the last things. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. So we now have a 100% accuracy score across everything. So let's accept those. Trust the process. So we have a syntax error on line 59. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Missing colon brace. All right, so it's fixed its build errors. Let's actually do it for ourselves. So you see npm run build. Let's see. Okay, so cool. Chunks are a bit big, but it's fine. So npm run dev. That's my favorite command. Let's go. So here we are. We've got the landing page. It looks clean, professional, smooth. We've got some animation on page load, and it's also put a space there for a demo video. So with these SaaS tools, this is a very good idea to just have a straight up video showing what the tool does, how it works, get right into the weeds of it. The first thing I'm going to do is put in my redirect URL after signing. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this is because it's based on where the dashboard is in the app. So I'm just going to give this to the AI and say, can you give me the redirect URL for where the users are sent to after sign up or purchase? And once you go live, you just go in and change that from localhost to your actual domain. So this is what I'm looking for, the localhost that I'm at and dashboard. You do need to know where it's sending you to because it could be sending them to /app and something something else. So it's where your dashboard is located, where you want to send the user after. And again, when you submit this to live and you've got your actual domain, all that changes is this. So now when I go over to the app and go to log in, I can log in with either GitHub or Google, and it's going to redirect me to the dashboard. So if I click GitHub here, authorize Insforge, and I'm being redirected, and that's it. I'm redirected to my dashboard, and now my user account, if I come back over to Insforge and go to users, I've got one user now. So again, just refresh. Now we've got Ariel CPX, and anytime a user signs up, no friction whatsoever. They're not even having to type in name, email address. They just click and that's it. Now, because Antigravity has built this app out and it had the context from Insforge to build all the tables, the app is going to be working properly. Now, a micro SaaS isn't really a micro SaaS until you can accept payment for the software as a service. So that's what we need to do now. We need to add a payment provider. You can use Stripe, you can use PayPal, you can use WorldPay, you can use Paddle. I'm trying to think of all the different ones that I see when doing e-commerce online, but there are a number of payment providers. You're not limited to Stripe. You might want to shop around if fees are important to you, because Stripe doesn't have the best fees, but it is one of the easiest to get connected, especially if you've used it for a while and you have it connected to a bunch of different platforms. It has an MCP, it has CLI. The MCP is already built into Antigravity. And again, it's just super easy and well documented, which makes it really easy to build with if you're vibe coding. But as you can see, there are many more things to consider if you're building a micro SaaS compared to a micro app. Let's just verify everything works. So let's just do what it says. So main checking, initial balance, let's see, investment. Let's go for it. We do need some commas in that. That would look a lot better and easier. Institution, Vanguard, add account. Oh, look at that. That is lovely. I love that animation. History, record this month. Cool, that works. So nice. So out the box, it's already looking good. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to crack on and connect our payment system. So again, we're going with Stripe. Simple, easy, fine. So if this is your first time, you're going to need to get your MCP server set up. You'll go to additional options, MCP servers, and you'll find Stripe. Mine is already installed, but you will install it, add your secret key, and that gives it the privileges to handle everything you need to get it set up, and also talk to the Insforge MCP. So I'm just going to tell it, now let's get Stripe set up in a sandbox environment. Then we need to create the payment process. So the pricing tables, again, based on the information in the PRD, and link those to the price ID. So you're just telling it what you want it to do. And also if you don't have your payment tables created on your front page already, then you'll get it to do that in the process. So I'm going to put it in planning mode just to make sure it analyzes everything that I need it to properly, doesn't skip ahead. So right now you can see it's calling the Stripe MCP, it's created a product, created the price. So this is a freemium model and very, very popular in SaaS to give people free access to test it out if they like it. And if they want to involve their spouse or their entire family, it's going to cost a bit extra. So that's that. I'm happy with that. If ever you're not happy with a plan, what you can do is leave a comment. So for example, let's say I don't want the word to be subscribe. I'm going to say not subscribe, get started, and add that as a comment. And what that does is when I proceed, you can see down here it's got one comment, so it's going to proceed with that comment in mind. And you can go through the entire plan. You don't just have to take it for face value. You can go through the entire plan and add your notes if it's got anything wrong, or if it's hallucinated anywhere, or you just don't like something that is added. We've got our price IDs automatically created via the Stripe MCP, which is awesome. We didn't have to go and manually do that. So right now it's making those changes to my landing page. It's adding those pricing tables. So I'm going to log out so I can see that. So we now have our free up to 5 accounts, 3 months history, manual snapshots, community support. Again, if you're not happy with anything it proposes, you change that in the implementation so it doesn't do things like that. Or this is probably detailed in the PRD because it's followed exactly what I've added in the PRD. Now, as I mentioned, a SaaS is only a SaaS if people can pay you on a recurring basis for your tool, for your software as a service. So your next steps from here would be testing the payment process. So you're doing that in the sandbox mode, and then you want to make sure that you've got your redirect page set up. So whether they're going to a thank you page or directly to the app. And you also might want to set up your automatic emails. So when they sign up, they get a welcome email. So these are small things, but these are major for making sure that you've got that holistic feel when you create your SaaS. But these are beyond the scope of this video. Now, if you do want to see me run through the entire Stripe process from test to live and have it all set up and running, let me know. Drop a comment in the description and I will be on it. If not, join the launchrocket.io community, and if you're checking out Insforge as an alternative to Supabase, the link is in the description. If you use my link, there's no benefit to me, there's no benefit to you, but it does let Insforge know that you came over from my video, and that's awesome. That's it, guys. Peace.